On Sunday, February 25th, 2024, Madeline Soto celebrated her 13th birthday with her family and friends, and the very next day, she mysteriously went missing. 5 days later, Maddie's lifeless body was found on the side of the road. So the story that Maddie's mother and her boyfriend have told is a little shaky. Channel 9 interviewed both Maddie's mother and her boyfriend, Stefan, and they both gave a rundown of what happened on the day Maddie went missing. And I kid you not, this interview gave me chills because something didn't seem right. Jen began going over the details of that morning, and the story that was given initially was that Stefan alone took Maddie to school. Jen changed that story and said that they both took her to school on that morning. Then in that same interview, she changed her story again and said that Stefan took her to school. So which one is it? If Jen was not being truthful here, then she definitely forgot to be consistent with her lies. And this is the part that got me. Only 1 minute into this interview, you can actually see Maddie's mother laughing and smirking.
If I can't make you like spiders by the end of this video, feel free to unfollow me. Some tarantulas will adopt a pet humming dog frog and protect them from predators, and in exchange the frog eats the insects that would eat the spider's eggs. The frog gets a bodyguard and the spider gets a tiny god frog for her children. They use chemicals to recognize them, so the spider will grab the frog, examine it, and then release it when they realize this frog is friend, not food. The Patou du Bois is one of the smallest spiders in the world, and I defy you to tell me this isn't cute. Jumping spiders are so small that a pair of photographers were able to put water droplets on their head and have a photo shoot with them. And here's what that photo shoot looked like. If there were no spiders in the world, you would either starve to death or go broke feeding your family. Spiders eat 400 to 800 million insects that would destroy crops, so not only would there be less food, it would be much more expensive. Without spiders, a 4 for 4 would be a 4 for 40. Some spiders raise their arms and pretend to be ants. Out of the 43,000 types of spiders, less than 0.1% are dangerous to people. They have tiny paws called tarsuses used to grip surfaces. I repeat, spiders have tiny paws. If you like spiders a little more after this video, you can thank me by following me on Instagram.
This 911 dispatcher told a woman to shut up while she was drowning. In August of 2019, 47-year-old Deborah Stevens' car was swept away by flood waters while she was out delivering newspapers. She called 911 around 4:38 a.m. and she repeatedly told dispatch, "I'm going to die, I'm going to die." Water continued to rise in her SUV and she kept asking when someone was going to help her because she didn't know how to swim. And to make matters worse, Deborah didn't even know her exact location. Later during that call, the dispatcher, Donna, had told Deborah why she had even drove into the flood waters, and Deborah stated that she didn't see the water until it was too late. Deborah then tells Donna that she feels like she needs to throw up and if she could please pray with her, and she does not mean to come off as rude, it's just that she's very, very scared. Donna then rudely snarks at Deborah, telling her, "This will teach you not to drive into the water next time." 15 minutes into that 911 call, Donna is taking other 911 calls while Deborah is crying on the line. At this point, Deborah has not been found since she does not know her exact location and she's just uncontrollably crying, and Donna tells her to shut up and honk her horn. She is unable to do so because Deborah's car horn is dead. At that point, the flood water was above the door of Deborah's SUV and her last words were, "I'm going to die." Donna then replied to her saying, "Deborah, you're breathing just fine since you're screaming at me, so calm down." This is when Donna realized that Deborah was underwater and unfortunately she did not make it. As for Donna, she did not get into any legal trouble for this phone call, and this was actually her last shift as she had just given her 2 weeks notice.
Disturbing facts you didn't want to hear, part 2. Many doctors say that the most common last words they hear are, "I don't feel so good." Most laugh tracks you hear in TV shows were recorded in the 1950s, meaning that the people you hear laughing are probably dead. During the French Revolution, it was said that the guillotine had to be used multiple times to get the job done. The reason that planes shut off their lights right before they land is so that passengers' eyes can adjust to the dark just in case there's a crash. This is so if the power goes out during the crash landing, they can better find an escape route.
Animals that look terrifying at night. Owls.
By the garden of the
cows.
This is by far one of the worst work accidents ever, and whatever you do, never look up the video. The video that I'm about to explain to you has left many people traumatized, so whatever you do, don't go looking for it. The video is pretty short, coming in at 52 seconds in length, and it's not known where in Russia this took place. And it's a mystery to how this footage made its way onto the internet. As you play the video, you see a man walk towards the lathe machine, which he assumes is off. The man is wearing baggy clothes and some kind of jacket, and wearing loose clothing around a lathe machine is a no-no, since it can be sucked up into the machine, as this man found out. After the man approaches the machine, he seems to reach over it, but the rotating pole seems to get stuck on one of his sleeves, and it then drags the man into the machine. Initially, it doesn't kill the man, instead it traps his arm around the rotating pole and the machine appears to have stopped. But after a couple seconds, the machine seems to start again, and this time dragging the poor man's entire body into the machine, rotating it around and around and around. As his limbs hit the ground after each rotation, you see red mist appear, and after a few more seconds, chunks of flesh and body parts start to fly off the machine. A man then walks into the shot and he sees what's happening to his coworker. And with a look of shock, he quickly turns off the machine, but it was too late. His coworker's body has been completely torn apart into multiple pieces, and the machine is a bloody mess. There are a collection of still images from the aftermath of the incident which shows how unrecognizable the man's body is. In one photo, you see what appears to be a tibia with no flesh around it lying on the ground. And in another photo, you see the victim's severed and crushed head underneath the machine. It's absolutely disturbing and awful to look at. This video is hard to explain and hard to watch. It's extremely gruesome and disturbing, and I really don't recommend looking for it.
If I can't make you like rats a little more, you can go ahead and unfollow me. Rats are ticklish and they actually giggle when you do it, it's just that it's so high pitched that you would normally never hear it. Mice and rats blush when they're happy, and you can tell when their ears become a more vivid pink. Rats are extremely clean and they spend a lot of time grooming and washing themselves. Not only that, but they bond by cleaning each other, which is called allogrooming, and for a rat, the ultimate sign of trust is letting someone else do their hair. Rats are also neat freaks that'll occasionally organize their food into piles. Pet mice can form strong emotional attachments with humans. Not only will rats react with excitement when they hear their owner's voice, they'll try to groom their human friend as if they were a rat in their own family. And these bonds can easily last a rat's entire life. They're not only highly intelligent, but they can show empathy and compassion. In an experiment, one rat was held in a special cell-like device and one was put outside of it. And every time, the rat on the outside got extremely nervous and tried to free the other rat, even though he himself had nothing to gain by doing so. They got racially profiled because it turns out they're actually not responsible for the plague that clapped 200 million people. Scientists believe people caught the plague from other people, not rats. Rats sing like songbirds when they're really happy. Hope this helps.
This man in the background of this interview with Fox was arrested and named the prime suspect of 13-year-old Madeline Soto's disappearance and murder. This is Madeline's mother, and her boyfriend is in the background, and when I saw this interview, I noticed how fidgety he was the entire time. He seemed so nervous, and I even called it out, and then a body language expert assessed his behavior from this interview and said that this man needs to be looked into more. He was literally arrested right after this because they found photos and videos on his phone that were very inappropriate. They haven't revealed any specifics regarding what was on his phone, but he did try to delete everything on his phone on the same day that Maddie went missing. Investigators were able to retrieve all the content that was on his phone, and his excuse was that he accidentally deleted everything.
This teenager killed his ex-girlfriend for a free cooked breakfast. Back in 2010, 15-year-old Joshua Davis was in a relationship with Becca Aylward. The pair were the same age and they both went to Bridgend High School in Wales. Rebecca, who was known to her friends as Becca, had dreams of one day becoming a barrister. Upsettingly, throughout the relationship, the schoolboy had been aggressive and controlling with Becca. He'd even sent texts to his friends bragging that one day he might kill her. On one occasion, one of Joshua's friends replied saying that if he did so, he would buy him a cooked breakfast. Chillingly, Joshua would later say to his friend, "Don't say anything, but you may just owe me." In October 2010, despite the pair having broken up, Joshua told Rebecca he wanted to meet her at a local woods. Alarm bells rang for Rebecca's family when she failed to return home that day. No one knew that she had been lured to the woods by Joshua for him to kill her. He had beaten her to death with a rock. Her body was discovered the following day at 9 a.m. face down on the ground. The same day that Joshua had killed Rebecca, he sent texts to her phone to make it look like he was concerned about her. However, the truth did eventually emerge. Thankfully, Rebecca's parents knew that it was Joshua she was intending on meeting, so police investigated him. They confiscated his phone, and the evidence on the phone was enough to arrest him. Joshua and his friends tried to blame each other for the killing, but he was finally found guilty of the hideous crime. Shockingly, he only got 14 years in prison, and the 14 years is nearly up.
Sandra Chesky, a 13-year-old girl, walks into the Sioux Falls Police Department at this moment. She tells the front desk, I just need to talk to someone. I was with some friends in Gitche Manitou Park Saturday night, and some people showed up who I think were police officers, and they separated me from my friends, and I think maybe my friends were taken away by the cops, so I'm wondering if they're here at the police station.
What?
Yes.
So they pretended to be cops and took her friends.
She's rushed into an office to be interviewed and to figure out what's going on. Did they really have a living person who was there that night during the slaughter? Were her friends that she was talking about Michael, Stuart, Dana, and Roger? Sandra tells police, yes, that's who I was with.
I thought she was talking about a different group.
No. She says that, no, I'm pretty sure, like, those are my friends, and I thought they were here because the police came.
What the heck?
Yes. So she's like, I just want to know where they are because I've been trying to call Roger. He's actually my boyfriend, and he hasn't been home. So police look at each other, and they're like, oh, no. And then they face Sandra, and they tell her that they aren't sure what happened, and they really do need to talk to her because they think she has answers. But before they do that, they need to tell her that her friends didn't come home with police from the campsite that night, and they're not here at the station. They believe the people who showed up and took her weren't actually police, and that her friends and her boyfriend had been murdered.
This freshman vanished from his dorm at UCLA in 1999 and has never been found. On the night of December 10th, 1999, Michael Negrete attended a party and then went back to his dorm to play video games. The last confirmed sighting is at 4 a.m. because he was playing against somebody who was actually on the same floor as him, so when the game ended, he walked down the hall to congratulate his friend. Then he was seen walking back to his dorm room. His roommate woke up at 9 to find Michael missing. Michael had seemingly abandoned all of his belongings. His ID, wallet, keys, and even all of his shoes were still in his dorm room. There's one unsubstantiated sighting of Michael leaving the building around 4:35. Tracking dogs were used and they traced his scent going from the building in a zigzag pattern down to the bus stop before it disappeared. But it's officially unknown if this freshman left on his own accord. Witnesses would later say that around 4 to 4:30 a.m. on the night that Michael vanished, a strange older man was seen lurking through the halls. This man was older than college age and no one can identify him. Michael was a well-liked kid with no enemies, no known mental health issues or substance issues. So it's really a mystery what happened, and anyone with information should reach out to the police department.
This has to be the funniest ring cam interaction ever. What is up, my mammals?
Okay.
I am a little sick because my brother gave me his disease.
Alright.
Disease.
She does look sick.
So, anyway.
That's why I don't touch doorbells.
How has your day been? How's your day been?
Good day, thank you. Great day.
I hope it's been good. How has it been, guys?
Oh, no way, she's kissing it. She just fell asleep.
Oh, I hope there's a hell. I hope there's a hell. Please let there be a hell. And Jocelyn's mother, Kelly, and her boyfriend spend eternity there. Do you know what they did to this poor little girl? Do you know what they did to her? They sold her in South Africa. Sold her to a traditional healer. Go look up what that is in South Africa. Go look that up. How, folks, could a mother look at this little girl and sell her? It's got to be pure evil. It's got to be pure evil in your heart. You cannot have a soul. You can't. How could a mother do something like that? If you guys have kids, you know that. Your kids are everything to you. You would give your life up for them in a second. This mother sells her. Sells her. Folks, pray a miracle happens here and they find her, pray. But folks, you know as well as I do, this isn't going to end good. What kind of world are we living in? This is not the world I started living in. This world has changed, folks. This world has changed. There's more evil people in this world daily. Miracle, please.
She fell in love with her daughter and married her. This is Stephanie from Oklahoma, and I wasn't even looking for this story. I was researching something else, and I came across this, and I was like, clicking that link. So Stephanie lost custody of her kids when they were younger, and their paternal grandmother took over. Later, she got back into her kids' life, and then she says her and her daughter just hit it off. And this was after she married her son in 2008 and then got it annulled in 2010. She said that wasn't a actual, with an S, relationship. She just married him to get him out of the military. Don't understand how this works, but that's what she said. Now this son right here says he tried that mess with her, but he wasn't going for it. He denied her advances. DHS got involved. She was 44 here and she was 26, so I don't understand how this worked with the DHS. I don't know if there was a child in the home or what, but DHS got involved and they were charged with incest. They are now divorced. Well, the marriage has been annulled. Oh, and the mother says she feel like she didn't do nothing wrong because her name wasn't on her daughter's birth certificate. Honey is in the blood.
Having coffee injected into your veins could be one of the worst ways to die. This is another worst deaths imaginable. Viewer discretion is advised. This story happened in Brazil back in 2012 to an 80-year-old patient. One of her nurses was a trainee. She had just started, I think it was 3 or 4 days prior to working with her. This patient had 2 separate bags. One of them was for food, the other one was for medicine. The 2 bags are really close to one another, and the nurse would later say it's really easy to get them confused. I don't know the circumstances behind this, but the patient, I guess, was getting coffee and milk, I believe was supposed to be injected into the feeding portion of, the tubes. But the inexperienced nurse instead injected the coffee and the milk directly into the bag, where the medicine was supposed to go. Almost immediately, the patient began to react. She appeared to be in some kind of trauma. She was having a very loud reaction to this. Unfortunately, once this happens, it's pretty much already too late. It took about 3 to 4 hours for this patient to die from what happened. The coffee and milk would run straight to, according to the doctors who worked on her, it went straight to her heart and to her lungs. And basically it filled up her lungs and it caused her to have the effect of drowning. Not to mention it was actually a hot liquid. So slowly this patient drowned because of this. And she passed away after being in some significant pain and discomfort. I know that the 23-year-old nurse was charged with involuntary manslaughter. However, I do not know the outcome as to what happened to her. But unfortunately, because of her inexperience, this poor woman suffered for a couple of hours.
Last week, a girl who was walking to school found a severed arm near a park, and over the course of a week, multiple other body parts have been found strewn across Babylon, New York. This case is honestly terrifying. So on February 29th, a girl found a severed left arm near a park in Babylon and called the police. When the Suffolk County Police Department arrived, they, along with cadaver dogs, then found a human leg in a pile of leaves nearby. After thoroughly searching the scene, they then found a right arm, a severed head, and many more body parts in the park. Authorities were able to confirm that the remains belong to a 53-year-old man and a 59-year-old woman, but their identities have not yet been released to the public. A week after this grisly discovery, more human remains were found in Bethpage State Park in Farmingdale, just a few miles away, and it was confirmed that the remains belong to the same victims. So far, human remains have been found in 3 different locations in Suffolk County, leaving behind a chilling mystery. Since the discovery, these 4 people have been arrested in connection to the crime. They are Stephen Brown, Jeffrey Mackey, Amanda Wallace, and Alexis Neves, and they all reportedly lived together at a home in Amityville. They have since been charged with hindering prosecution, tampering with physical evidence, and concealment of a human corpse. But here's the thing. They've all since been given supervised release, meaning they're all walking free in the public right now. Their release is based solely on the fact that at the moment, they have not been charged with the killing of the 2 victims. So according to authorities, they're free to go until their next court appearance, or if new evidence is found where authorities are able to press additional charges. All 4 suspects are required to wear GPS monitoring bracelets and are ordered to stay in Suffolk County. The only thing is that they aren't allowed to return to their Amityville apartment due to inoperable plumbing, which was reportedly removed during the police investigation. It's insane to me that they've all been released because authorities searched their house and what they found is horrifying. Police found cutting tools, a meat cleaver, and traces of human remains, but according to police, that isn't enough evidence to prove who killed and dismembered the 2 victims and why. So far, a motive has not been released, but authorities are investigating the case as a possible love triangle. One of the suspects allegedly dismembered his girlfriend and a man that he believes she cheated with, but this has not been officially confirmed. It's just been reported by a source who claims to be familiar with the matter. As for the 2 victims, not a lot of information has been released about them, although police do believe that they may have lived together in Yonkers. But at this moment, their relationship to the suspects remains a mystery.